Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into the epic 12th and penultimate Winter 2024-25 update from GavsWeatherVids. So here we go again, time to bring you more winter data. We're up to update number 12 out of 13 once this one is done, and so we've only got one more winter update to do for you. That's next week's 13th, followed by the third and final Winter 24-25 Season 1 roundup on Saturday the 30th of November, and then that's it, no more data, and we will be releasing GavsWeatherVids Winter 24-25 forecast on Sunday the 1st of December, 2 weeks today. So we are very, very close to the end now, but let's not get ahead of ourselves, because we have got, more data to do this week and next week. And I shall get on with the 12th update for you in a moment. Just say that first video today was our 6 AM UK weather forecast. And we're going to be live at 6 PM. Now, I'm not sure whether on the live stream at 6 we're going to be discussing this 10 to 14 day, or whether we're going to be doing Snow Watch live, or maybe a bit of both. So I'll let everybody know on the socials, but we will be live at 6 PM this evening, so I shall see you for a little bit of gap time, gappeting time. Then, thank you so much, Richard. Thank you so much to Richard for the winter updates gift. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much, Rich. And the King of Swing has been swinging for us again this week. The first thing that I'm going to show you in a moment will be the swingometer. So more about that in a second. Also, thanks to Schreier and Bruin as well for help on this update. Hashtag Team Gav doing an amazing and an awesome job for us as always. Thank you so much, guys. Let's not forget Terry as well. Right, let's crack on then. So the first thing we're going to show you is the swingometer. So, let's get serious for a moment. After 11 winter updates, or up to the end of last week's 11th winter update, and 2 Season 1 roundups, along with the Winter 24-25 NEO forecast, or at least back in the summer, this is how we're currently looking. So in 5, in 4, in 3, in 2, in 1... here we go, and we are favouring now a colder than average winter by 58% to 42% within our winter updates methodology, or winter forecast methodology. Note that is a small swing from mild to cold. So last week we had a small swing from cold to mild. This week we've had a small swing back from mild to cold. And Dar's not happy. Wants us to make our mind up. But that's, that's how it goes with the winter updates. But overall, we are still pretty strongly actually favouring a colder than average winter here. Thank you so much, King of Swing, for swinging for us. Swinging for us. We're swinging one way and swinging the other, aren't we? So that's not a bad thing to do sometimes. So thank you so much, King of Swing, Richard, for doing the swingometer for us again. This season of updates, and of course you'll see that again next week. You'll find out next week just exactly how this 12th update has affected the swingometer, if indeed it has. Thank you so much, Rich. I love it. Okay, let's move on then. So, let's have a look at the QBO. This requires IBM oscillation. Now, I forgot to show, I'll fess up, I forgot to show this last week, but I am including it this week. So, this is the shows from NASA showing the boundary levels of the atmosphere from the stratosphere at the top of the atmosphere at 10 HPA to the troposphere. That's at 1350 HPA. That's the boundary level where weather is taking place. Now, this sandy brown area, whatever colour you call that, is the latest westerly phase of the QBO, which is descending from the stratosphere down into the troposphere. This winter will be definitely and definitively a westerly QBO winter, although we do see signs of the next easterly phase of the quasi-Siberian oscillation just starting to lurk up at the top of the atmosphere in the stratosphere, but that's where it will stay for now, and that will, start to become more important as we go on through next year. But this will be a westerly QBO winter. We had a look earlier on in the winter updates at, what westerly QBO winters can be like. Just to say, we haven't had an update from No, which is very disappointing. So we've been waiting for October's number to be placed just there. Let's refresh page. No, it's still not showed up. So it's very late. Normally they have that up within 2 or 3 days of the start of the month. We're now up to like the 17th of December today. Still no update. So as soon as we get the number for October for the QBO, we will bring you that. Of course, but at the moment, the latest that we have is for September, which was quite a strongly positive number at 10.36. So as soon as we get October's QBO number, then we will bring that data to you. No problemo. Right, we're going to have a look at Eurasian snow cover. Next, got the running order a little bit different for this 12th update. So this is how things look in terms of Eurasian snow cover up to last week when we did the 11th winter update. Note the snow line have made its way more or less into west of Russia, and we have got some snow across the Scandinavian Nordic region as well. Pretty good gains across the board when we did last week's 11th winter update. Well, this is the latest. And we have lost snow. Those gains that we made last week may have been lost over the past week. So we're seeing the snow line dying back a little bit from the far west of Russia. And unfortunately, and rather disappointingly, we've also lost quite a bit of snow up there over Scandinavia and into those Nordic regions as well. Note when I say Scandinavia, I am also talking about Nordic regions. I'm not forgetting, you know, Norway and Finland, and just focusing on Sweden and Denmark. So Scandinavia, you know, encompasses the entire peninsula, I guess. Right, okay, well, let's see how we're doing compared to previous years then. So here we go with our comparison. And, well, there's 2023. So we have much less snow across Scandinavia and the Nordic regions compared to this point last year. And we're probably, how are we doing compared to for Russia? So we've probably got more snow across Russia this year compared to last year, but we are lagging behind for Scandinavia. Right, that's 2022. What do you think about that year? Very closely matched for Russian snow cover, but behind for Scandinavian snow cover. That's 2021. So with that year, again, very close for Russian snow cover, but lagging behind Scandinavian snow cover. That's 2020. So, again, that one's quite close to Russian snow cover, maybe a little bit more this year for Russia. Scandinavian snow cover, very closely matched. That could be a real close match, actually, for Scandinavian Nordic snow cover. That's 2019. What do you think about that year? So, we're ahead of 2019 for Russian snow cover, but behind for Scandinavian snow cover. That is 2018. So, with that, probably a little bit ahead this year compared to 2018 for Russian snow cover, but behind for Scandinavian snow cover. Note the areas that are snow covered are different in 2018 compared to this year, though. That is 2017. Again, what do you think about that one? So that's lagging behind, I think, in all areas, Scandinavia and Russia. And that's 2016, obviously massively lagging behind that year, given that virtually the entirety of the Scandinavian Nordic regions was snow covered, and we had got snow line into Eastern Europe as well. So really lagging behind 2016. That's 2015. So we're a little bit behind 2015 for Russia snow cover and behind Scandinavian snow cover. That is 2014. What do you think about that year? So we're perhaps a bit ahead of 2014 for Russian snow cover, but behind for Scandinavian snow cover. We're really not doing very well across Scandi, are we? That is 2013. What do you think about that year? I think we're ahead of 2013 for Russian snow cover, but behind it Scandinavian snow cover. And that is 2012. That's a close match for Russian snow cover, but we're behind for Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. That's 2011, which we are behind. Well, we're a little bit behind for Scandinavian snow cover, but massively behind for Russian and Eastern European snow cover. That is 2010, so we're ahead of 2010 for Russian snow cover, but way behind for Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. That is 2009, so we are a little bit ahead of Russian snow cover, this year, but I think we are way behind, well, definitely way behind the Scandinavian snow cover. That is 2008. Now we're ahead of 2008, quite significantly so, actually, for Russian snow cover, but behind it, Scandinavian. Nordic snow cover, and we're behind 2007 in all areas. We're behind 2006 in all areas as well, quite clearly. We are ahead of 2005 for Russian snow cover. No, sorry, everyone. Now, what do you think about Scandinavian snow cover? So, actually, Scandinavian and or Nordic. I reckon, and it's very close one thing, but 2005 could be the one of a few years that we are actually ahead of for both Russian and also Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. Bit subjective, but possible. Possibly we are. Let me know in the comments what you think and which years we're closest to, everyone. That's 2004, so we're ahead of 2004 for Russian snow cover, but behind it Scandinavian snow cover, and that is 2003, so we're possibly quite closely matched. Russian snow cover, but behind it Scandinavian Nordic snow cover, and that is 2002, we're behind that in all areas. That's 2001, which we are behind in all areas as well. That is 2000. Now we're ahead of 2000 slightly for Russian snow cover, but behind it Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover, and that is at 1999. So we are behind 1999. Sorry, for Russian snow cover, and probably slightly behind Scandinavian snow cover, and that's 1998. We are behind 1998 in all areas. So for Russian snow cover, we're probably somewhere in the middle of the pack, but we are lagging really quite badly for Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. Let's go even further back to 1966. Now, I won't do a year-by-year comparison, but just sort of keep this in mind. That is where the snow line currently is, and this is how things are looking across Scandinavia and Nordic areas. And let's do this. So we are behind 1997 in all areas this year, and we are behind 1996 for Scandinavian Nordic snow cover, perhaps a little bit ahead of it for Russian snow cover. We're behind 1995 in all areas. No, we've even got a little bit of snow into France at this point. No, into Germany, sorry. Some in Germany at this point in 1995. 1994, we're behind that in all areas, and 1993 we're behind that in all areas as well. I think we're behind 1992 in all areas. We are behind 1991 for Russian snow cover, maybe more closely matched to Scandinavian snow cover. 1990 could be a year that we're quite close to for both Scandinavian and Russian snow cover. That could be a pretty decent match, I reckon. 1990. 1989, we're behind that for Scandinavian snow cover. That's a little bit ahead for Russian snow cover, and we're behind 1988 for Russian snow cover, probably quite close. Scandinavian snow cover, 1987. We're a little bit behind that for Russian snow cover. Could be a little bit ahead of 1987 though for Scandinavian snow cover. That's one of the few years that we might be doing better at this year. For Scandi snow cover, that's 1986, so that could be quite close for Russian snow cover, but we're behind it. Scandinavian snow cover, that's 1985, so again I think we're behind that. Russian snow cover, you know, that's closely matched Scandinavian snow cover. 1984, I think we're behind that in all areas. 1983, we're ahead of the Russian snow cover, but behind it Scandinavian snow cover. 1982, possibly a little bit ahead of that, Russian snow cover as well. And Scandinavian snow cover, we're probably behind though. 1981, could be ahead of that year for Russian snow cover, but behind it Scandinavian snow cover. 1980, we're behind in all areas. 1979, that's an interesting one because we've got this gap here, this white gap from the main snow line of another cluster of snow in the southwestern corner of Russia. I suspect we're probably a little bit ahead of 1979 for Russian snow cover, and maybe quite closely matched Scandinavian snow cover. We're behind 1978, I think, in all areas, particularly Scandinavia. here. We're behind 1977. Scandinavian snow cover could be quite close to Russian snow cover. We're behind 1976 in all areas. 1975, that might be a closer match. Scandinavian snow cover, perhaps a little bit behind for Russian snow cover. 1974, we're perhaps a little bit ahead of that year for Russian snow cover, but behind it for Scandinavian snow cover. We're behind 1973 in all areas. We're behind 1972 in all areas as well. We could be quite close to 1971 for Russian snow cover, but we're behind it for Scandinavian snow cover. And we're behind 1917 in all areas as well. We're behind 1969 in all areas this year. And we're behind 1968 for Scandinavian and Nordic snow cover. But perhaps relatively close, could be a little bit behind for Russian snow cover. 1967, we're ahead of that year, I think, actually, for Russian snow cover, but behind it, Scandinavian snow cover. And then finally, 1966, where we are behind that year for both Russian and Scandinavian snow cover, I think. Please let me know in the comments which years you think we're closest to. And, of course, we'll do that all over again next week for the final time. Okay, we're going to have a little break there. When we come back, we've got a lot of stratospheric data to be showing you. So that will be coming up in the second section of this 11th winter update. You often stretch your legs. Have a think about those snow cover charts, let me know. And I shall see you in about 2 seconds' time. See you soon, everyone. Okay, we're back and we are ready to resume the epic 11th, 12th winter 2020. I get mixed up with how many updates there might get to that phase of winter updates, but always happens around the last 2 or 3 where my brain starts to become frazzled, actually, with all of the data overload. No, we're back with the epic 12th winter 2024-25 update. Just gabbing, Gab. So let's resume. I hope you enjoyed that first section looking at Eurasian snow cover. Well, we're going to move on, have a look at the stratosphere now. So this is how temperatures are currently looking at 10 HPA versus average over the North Pole. So the grey line is trend line, which comes from JMA. Grey line is a trend line, black line is how temperatures have been performing through this season and where we currently are. We're virtually bang on, actually, the grey line. So we're virtually average with the temperature at 10 HPA, a little bit below, but only about a degree or so. And it's probably somewhere about minus 72, minus 73. If we go a little bit lower down to 30 HPA, that's close to the troposphere, of course. There we're perhaps a little bit more definitively cooler than average, cold average, but again, not much in it. Perhaps about minus 75. It should be around minus 73, something like that. At 30 HPA, so not anything overly dramatic going on with stratospheric temperatures at the moment. This is the latest temperature forecast at 10 HPA from the GFS. These dark blue colours, this is the polar vortex at its roots in the stratosphere at 10 HPA. Temperature hovering in the low minus 70s, as we just explained, which is slightly under par, but not by very much. Cold temperature actually on the European and Atlantic side of the Arctic, there we're to around minus 80. Okay, let's run through, see what's going to happen, or what's forecast to happen. So we're going to see intensification of those cold temperatures around Greenland next week, going down to minus 80 quite widely there, but not really impacting the North Pole. There we see temperature again, probably around minus 68 to minus 72, so it could actually tick up to be slightly above average, if anything there. And move on into extended range, again, nothing particularly dramatic going on. So over the North Pole, again, 10 HPA, somewhere, you know, in the upper minus 60s, about minus 65 to minus 68, something like that. Into the extended range, let's see what's happening there. So again, nothing particularly dramatic going on. Those temperatures remaining probably close to, or close to average. Could be a little bit on either side. That's how we end up by the 2nd of December. Again, over pole forecasting to be at around minus 76, something like that. So we go back to here, go back to 10 HPA. How would the black line look by the start of December? So it would be about there, I guess, which is actually a little bit above average. So actually the temperature, 10 HPA, possibly going to go slightly above average by the beginning of December, by the beginning of the winter, but not by enough to make any difference really to the polar vortex. No, we are seeing some minor warmings of the stratosphere around the edges here. These are green and yellow colours, but not making any impact at all on the polar vortex and the Arctic and the North Pole and whatnot. This should be extended forecast from the GWF in terms of temperature anomalies for the next 6 weeks. So this is week 1. There's that pretty minor warming occurring across southern Europe and going round into Siberia. Otherwise, temperatures are getting close to averages, we've explained, over the polar region. That's week 2. Maybe a little bit of cool down into week 2, but again, nothing particularly dramatic over the pole, nothing dramatic going on. That's week 3, bit of a minor warming over Siberia, again, nothing particularly exciting showing up. That's week 4. Temperature anomaly again, maybe slightly below par, nothing that dramatic. That's week 5. Now that might see a little bit of a further cooling though over the North Pole. So by then, on the temperature scale, the anomaly might be 5 to 10 degrees below average there. That might be signs of the polar vortex perhaps intensifying a bit, but then that levels off into week 6. Overall, I'm not seeing anything particularly dramatic going on with the polar vortex either way in terms of the temperature at 10 HPA over the next 2 to 6 weeks. However, zonal winds are predicted to be quite strong, despite the fact that the temperature isn't overly cold. We do still have quite a strong polar vortex. So this is the extended range forecast for mean zonal winds at 10 HPA. This is trying to tell us the strength of the polar vortex. One way of looking at the PV is with these blue colours. So see how cold the temperature is. Colder temperature is, the stronger the polar vortex tends to be really at its roots in the strat. But another way of looking at the polar vortex is through the zonal wind at 10 HPA over the Arctic and over the North Pole. Note this big green line, a little bit difficult to make that out, but it looks like that's going to be strengthening up through the latter part of November and into December. Not record-breakingly strong, have to be above this red line up here, I think, to be record-breaking strong, but certainly above climatology, certainly as strong as zonal wind that you'd expect, going into early December. So we might see a pretty strong zonal wind at the stratospheric level at 10 HPA, but whether that affects the tropospheric level remains to be seen. We've got some extended, some long-range forecast data for you here. So this is from, these are charts coming from Copernicus, with Copernicus' suite of models. Starting off with the GWF forecast for zonal wind. Remember, the strength of the zonal wind is on the side and dates in monthly periods along the bottom. Now, note this blue line here, quite interesting, going from November into December. That's above the black line, which is climatology. So, looks like the ECM is forecasting the zonal wind at 10 HPA over the North Pole, the polar vortex essentially, to become quite strong through December. But then maybe seeing a little bit of a weakening taking place through January. Quite interesting. Maybe one or two of the ECM ensemble blue members seeing the chance of an SSW in January, or certainly weakening of zonal winds. Who knows? This is how Meteo France is looking. Very close to average with Meteo France there, with the blue and the black line. So not seeing anything overly dramatic going on with the zonal wind there. This is the DWD from Germany. Again, looking at the zonal wind weakening as we go off into December, maybe becoming quite weak actually, weaker than average anyway, by late December into January, but then possibly strengthening later on in the winter. Again, doesn't look overly dramatic either way though. That's how the JMA forecast is looking. So that also picking up on the stronger than average zone of wind at 10 HPA through December, then weakening things down below average through January and into February. So the peak of the zone of wind at 10 HPA of that forecast is, kind of like around the middle part of December, and then we see a gradual weakening of zone of wind through into January and February. And then finally, the UK Met Office, that one is showing the blue line actually slightly above the black line throughout, so a rather stronger than average zone of wind there throughout with the UK Met. So it's a mixed bag. Doesn't look like anything overly dramatic is going on either way this winter. There's no particular evidence of a midwinter SSW there, I have to say. Equally, there's no particular evidence of a really strong solar wind either. So, in terms of like stratospheric developments, what's going on with the stratosphere, doesn't look particularly dramatic either way. We're going to be bringing back StratWatch for you in the first week of December. Right, let's go even further out into space. This episode is currently looking on our side of this day from solarham.net. Got a couple of sunspot regions, but actually solar activity is at low levels today and is expected to remain at low levels as well. And this is the GavsWeatherVids 12th Winter 24-25 updated solar tracker from Schreiber. Thanks to Schreiber for updating this for us. The orange line and orange spots depicting each individual day's worth of sunspot activity. There's the peak so far, but solar cycle 25 that happened back in the summer. Since then, we've seen solar activity in terms of daily sunspot numbers easing off, and our latest sunspot number is actually down here, which is the lowest it's been since going back into the spring, actually, when we was just there. So I have seen a bit of a drop off in daily sunspot numbers over the past few weeks, actually, since like the peak of the solar cycle so far back in the summer, because it's up and down on a day-by-day basis. So sorry, it's up and down on a day-by-day basis, but at the moment we are sort of descending a little bit with daily sunspot numbers. I'm sure we'll get some more tick-ups though in the next few weeks, given that we are at solar maximum. Thank you so much to Shrine for sending through the solar tracker. This is from Richard, showing spotless days and also the current spotless stretch. I think we've got Gav. We've got Gav lurking at the bottom. I think we have. Thank you, Sir Richard, putting me at the bottom of the of the gift there. Right, so spotless days for 2024 is 0 days. All days this year have had sunspots, as was the case in 2023. We're at solar maximum, so you would expect that. Our comparable year from solar cycle 24 was actually 2013. That also had 0 days without sunspots. All days in 2013 had sunspots. 2014 will be next year's comparable year, and that actually managed to turn up one day, but didn't have any sunspots, despite the fact 2014 is actually the solar maximum year of solar cycle 24. So that did something a little bit strange there. But overall, you expect all days to have sunspots. If we was to start getting a run of like several days without sunspots, then something very, very odd will be going on, given we are at the maximum phase of solar cycle 25. Moving on to the Arctic Oscillation, this is how the AO observed and forecast is currently looking. The black line shows where we've been with the Arctic Oscillation. Red lines at the end with GFS ensembles forecasting an Arctic Oscillation to go. Remember, it's an index that's reflecting the atmospheric state. It doesn't drive anything in its own terms. It tells what the atmosphere is doing. So when the AO is positive, got low pressure over the Arctic over pole. When the AO is negative, got high pressure blocking over the Arctic and over the pole. We are currently around neutral, slightly on the positive side of neutral with the AO, and over the next couple of weeks we're expecting the Arctic Oscillation to be neutral to negative. So that tells us that we are going to see an increase in the blocking signal over the North Pole. At the same time, the NEO It's looking like this, rather more dramatic. So once more, the black line shows where we've been, with the North Atlantic oscillation, red lines at the end, where the GFS ensemble to forecasting the NEO to go. Now, we're already negative with the North Atlantic oscillation, after being pretty positive from the middle of October towards the middle of November. We are doing a little bit of a bungee jump with the NEO, and we're expecting the NEO, if the forecast is correct, with GFS ensembles to go even more negative as we go into the second or through the second half of November there. And we see the NEO coming back up a little bit as we move towards month's end, the beginning of December, but still on the negative side. So with both of the indexes going into a negative state, that tells us the blocking signal is increasing, the Atlantic pattern is changing, and that's the reason we've got cold weather coming up next week. This is the extended forecast from Kyle Critchie, but including this in our winter updates this year for the first time. So, as I said, at the moment, the Arctic oscillation is going negative, and the CFS model is predicting that the AO will stay negative then, in a generally sort of extended negative phase until the middle of December, when it starts to go more positive again. So, second half of December, of course, around Christmas, see the Arctic oscillation going positive, but maybe going back into negative territory later on in the winter into January. And that's how the NEO is looking as well. So that also appears to be entering a long-term negative phase from the middle of November to middle of December, but again forecasting to go positive, wouldn't you know it, late December, around the Christmas period. Yes, it's their best positive NEO, which could be a signal for a mild Christmas, who knows. And then the NEO forecast is generally staying positive through January, perhaps into it going weekly negative into February. That, of course, is a very long way off. Remember, that is experimental data. We're just, seeing how things develop with that in this season of winter updates. Right, oceans data next. This is how the oceans were looking when we did last week's 11th winter update. So we've got our 4 interest areas, of course. The ENSO region just here. North Pacific just there, particularly focus on the northeast of Pacific. Indian Ocean is over here, and the North Atlantic is over there, of course. So that's how the oceans looked last week. This is the latest. And dealing with the ENSO region first of all, I think we've seen a further weakening, actually, of the La Nina signature. So we're looking in the central, equatorial Pacific Ocean, along the equator of the Pacific, basically. Again, that's the situation last week, situation this week. I reckon the blues are slightly less deep this week compared to last week. So again, we're seeing a slight weakening, if anything, of the La Nina signature. So we really are struggling with this La Nina, and I'm beginning to have my doubts whether this La Nina will ever be designated in the end. This could be looking more and more like an ENSO neutral winter on the cold side. Of course, in our analogues last week, reanalysis, we looked at both weak La Nina winters and also ENSO neutral on the cool side winters. I don't want to go back. Right, yeah, so let me know in the comments what you think. I reckon that's a slight weakening again from last week to this week, La Nina signature. In the Northern Pacific, though, the cold PDO signature may be strengthening up here and around there as well. Let's go back to last week and then forwards to this week. So I reckon we are seeing the cold PDO signature increasingly strengthening. So it's got a bit colder up here, I think, and around here it's also showed a little bit of a cool down. So in the North Pacific, quite interesting that the cold PDO signature strengthens, but weakening the La Nina signature in the equatorial Pacific Ocean. Then we're moving over to the Indian Ocean. Just there. So, again, situation last week, and then for the situation this week. Not much change there, I don't think. Just generally, most areas looking above average through the Indian Ocean. And then in the North Atlantic, so once more that situation over here last week, and this is situation this week. So not much change. Most areas remaining above average with the sea surface temperature anomaly, particularly through here. though note we have had a little bit of cooling taking place around there. So that, if it was to be maintained and continue into winter, could deliver us a tripole type signature. We would want to see this area through here becoming colder, but you know, it is perhaps not that far away from a weak tripole there in the North Atlantic. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Next week we're going to be doing a year-by-year comparison, actually the final update, see how we're looking in the Atlantic compared to previous years. This is how the oceans have changed over the last 7 days. This is the 7-day trend. So, ENSO region, most areas have indeed warmed over the past 7 days, telling us that the La Nina signature has indeed backed off. In the Northern Pacific, things generally cooling through there, and note over the past 7 days, we have had some additional cooling just here as well. In the Indian Ocean, we can see that most areas have warmed through the Indian Ocean. And then in the North Atlantic Ocean, indeed, we have seen cooling through this area. Warming has taken place through that area, and now seeing a little bit of further warming through the central part of the subtropical Atlantic as well. So once more, that does look a little bit tripole-esque, that sort of anomaly there with cooler through here, warmer through there, and up to there. We'll keep an eye on that over the next few weeks after winter updates. No, we'll keep a close eye on what's going on in the Atlantic. A little bit inconclusive. Southern Oscillation Index is an index that's reflecting the atmospheric state, measuring air pressures between Tahiti and Darwin, and then coming out with an overall daily SOI number. When the SOI is positive, the atmospheric sector will be reflective of La Nina. When the SOI is negative, the atmospheric sector will be reflective of El Nino. So earlier on in November, we had a quite strong negativity of the SOI. Repeated negative numbers here, telling us that the atmospheric setup was in an El Nino type state. We have actually seen the SOI shifting into a more positive state, though, over the past few days, plus 14, plus 15, plus 11, plus 3, and plus 6. So over the past week, interesting, over the past week, the SOI, tendency, atmospheric setup has gone more towards La Nina, but obviously in the ocean, we've backed off from the La Nina signature a little bit. That's probably because of the earlier El Nino type atmospheric setups that we had, back earlier on in November. If the positivity of the SOI was to continue over the next few days and, next couple of weeks, we'll probably see the La Nina signature strengthening a little bit. But it is getting very, very late now to be able to get this La Nina going, and officially designated. Just a quick little mention of the Indian Ocean dipole to say that is continuing to look as though it's going to be around neutral for the remainder of this winter. This is coming from Bureau of Meteorology. Currently, the Indian Ocean dipole is around neutral. It is forecast to go onto the positive, so a bit on the negative side, cold side of neutral, or even into a very weakly cold IOD. But we're forecasting here that the IOD will go onto the slightly positive side of neutral, but staying around neutral for the next several months. So these are the probabilities. So for December, like 26% chance of a cold IOD, 0% chance of a warm IOD, and 73% chance, very strong chance, that the IOD will be around neutral. Look at January, 94% chance of a neutral IOD then. February, 77% chance of a neutral IOD. March, 78% chance of a neutral IOD. And April, 82% chance of a neutral IOD. So it looks like the IOD is going to be in neutral phase over the course of this winter, and possibly even beyond that into the spring. Okay, we'll have another little break there, and when we come back, we're going to be looking at, for the rest of this video, at the hurricane season, and that's what our reanalysis is this week. So we have, well, I'll let you know, in the third section, but basically, the analogues are going to be based on accumulated cyclone energy, so more about that in a second. See you in 2 seconds, everyone. Okay, what are we doing? We're back. We're ready to resume. I'm frazzled. We're back and we're ready to resume the epic 12th Winter 2024-25 update from GavsWeatherVids. This is update 11, update 12. Is it update 7? Update 13? I don't know. No, it's a 12th Winter update, and I shall resume the third and final section for you right now. If you enjoyed this 12th update, then please like, share, and subscribe. And thank you so much, everyone, for doing that for GavsWeatherVids. Right, as I said a moment ago, the rest of this video will be looking at the hurricane season. So this is the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season page from Wikipedia, and we can see the latest scores on the doors. Miss 4 just here. So for this season, we've had a total of 18 tropical depressions, 18 tropical storms, 11 hurricanes, and 5 major Category 3 or above hurricanes. And the reason we look at this, by the way, some people do wonder why we're looking at this. So just to explain, notice that this is where most of those hurricanes and storms are beginning their life, but they all try to push northwards. So what a tropical storm and hurricane is essentially doing is it's a way of transporting energy, basically, through the low pressure, through the storm. It's moving warmth and energy from the tropics into the polar region. So in the end, all of these storms, or the energy from the storms, the areas of low pressure and their legacies, get from the south and up into the north in our part of the northern hemisphere. So if you get lots of storms dumping lots of energy, lots of warmth from the tropic into the Arctic and polar region, ultimately, that can translate back later into an increased risk of blocking. Or that's the theory. This is a Joe Bastardi theory. So, of course, we keep an eye on accumulated cyclone energy. This is a way of measuring the amount of energy each individual storm is giving out, and then creating a seasonal, accumulation of all of those storms in terms of the energy that they're giving. The classification is below normal, near normal, above average, and hyperactive. If we come down to the latest year, by the way, our Ace Master Shrine has been keeping us updated for us, and we can Shrine for that. We can see that yes, this is a confirmation that the Atlantic 2024 tropical storm and hurricane season has actually now gone hyperactive for this season. So this is our first hyperactive hurricane season since 2020, and we also had a hyperactive hurricane season before that in 2017. Other than that, been above average or near normal for the previous seasons. Our last below normal season for ACE was quite a long time ago now, in 2015. Quite remarkable that it's like nearly 10 years now since we had a below normal hurricane season. So that hyperactive season has been achieved by a ACE score in total of 160.20 after 18 tropical storms, 11 hurricanes, and 5 major hurricanes. Note that the tropical storm and hurricane numbers are both up 1 compared to last week, I think, and the or is it just tropical storm that's up 1? I'll confirm. Frazzle mine. No, yes, I think it's a tropical storm that's up 1, isn't it? And I don't think there's any change for the hurricane number or for the major hurricane number. But yeah, that we're closest to, by the way, in terms of the ACE overall, in terms of the ACE number, is 2010. Which came in with an ACE score of 165.48. That was after 19 tropical storms, 12 hurricanes, and 5 majors. So quite close in 2024 in terms of numbers to 2010. And as far as how we compare, to our running average up to the 15th of November, we'd expect to have ACE at 119.00. So obviously ACE is way above that. That will be after 14 tropical storms, 7 hurricanes, and 3 major. So all the numbers are above average, and that is how we have just about managed to claw our way to a hyperactive hurricane season. So we narrow the hurricane seasons down to just the ones that are hyperactive and include ENSO state with them. This is how the numbers look. So we can go way back to 1878 with this. But of course, for our reanalysis, we just look at 1950 onwards. So here we go then. We've got 1950 hyperactive hurricane season. That was included with La Nina. Another one just here with La Nina, and so neutral La Nina. That was a rare El Nino hyperactive hurricane season that occurred in 1969, quite unusual. Then we got 1995 La Nina, and so neutral La Nina, and so neutral. That was a Modoki El Nino with a hyperactive hurricane season in 2004. And then, of course, we have got La Nina and La Nina, and La Nina again in 2020, the last time we had a hyperactive hurricane season. So clearly, as we know, there is a strong connection between hyperactive hurricane seasons, very strong hurricane seasons, and La Nina, much less likely to have a hyperactive hurricane season with an El Nino. But what could all of this mean for our winter prospects? That's what you all want to know, isn't it? So let's have a look at reanalysis then. So this is how the winter of 1950-51 looks after the hyperactive hurricane season for ACE of 1950. And overall, this was a cold winter, particularly so through the early part of the winter. So December was very cold and wintry in 1950. Then it got milder in January and February. Has a trough low pressure in Western Europe, a blocking area, high pressure in the Atlantic. Temperature extreme is down here. All of these winters are following hyperactive hurricane seasons from 1950 onwards. We've got winter of 1955, 1956. With low pressure through here, high pressure blocking in the North Atlantic, winds coming in from the northeast. This starts off low, but has an extremely cold February with a sub-zero CET. We have 1961, 1962. So this one has high pressure out in the Atlantic, low pressure is to the east, winds come in from the north. A little bit of a forgotten winter, but it does have some cold moments, especially so around Christmas and New Year of 61 to 62. And also very cold late in the winter, late February, and especially March. March is one of the coldest Marches on record in 1962. We've got 1964, 1965. This is another cold winter in the 1960s with low pressure down here, high pressure blocking in the North Atlantic down to Greenland. Winds coming in from the east. And we've got 1969, 1970. Maybe it's not particularly relevant for ENSO though, but it's included because it follows a hyperactive hurricane season with low pressure to our south and east. High pressure is out in the Atlantic, winds coming in from an easterly direction. So that starts off relatively mild in December 69 and into January, but it gets colder later. And we've got 95, 96, so a long run then without a hyperactive hurricane season from 1969 all the way. 1969 was a bit of a freak, so basically it's 1964 to 1995. That's covers the full period of the last cold AMO, Atlantic multi-decadal oscillation. By 1995, that's when we begin the latest, and still in it, warm phase of the AMO, Atlantic multi-decadal oscillation. So clearly the AMO plays a big part in how strong the hurricane seasons are. So our next hyperactive hurricane season, long gap, none in the 70s, none in the 80s, and none in the early 90s. Our next hyperactive hurricane season is 1995. The winter of 1995 is a cold easterly winter with high pressure around Scandinavia. Low pressure is to the south. Winds are coming in from the east. Lots of easterlies on and off through the winter of 95, 96, and one of the few cold winters of the 1990s. We've got 1996, 1997. an analogue, but doesn't tell us a great deal about this winter, with high pressure generally to the east, low pressure out to the west. So it starts cold, gets milder, very cold around Christmas and New Year, snowy as well, really cold into January. Then we have a very mild and wet, windy February. We've got 98-99, which is a relatively mild Atlantic driven winter with just a few cold snaps, high pressure through there, low pressure up here, winds coming in from west. A few cold snaps there, but overall quite a mild winter. And then we've got 99-2000, also following hyperactive hurricane season, with low pressure north and high pressure down south, but winds again coming in from a westerly direction. 2003-2004 looks like it should be quite a cold winter, but wasn't particularly. Top of low pressure across the northern and eastern Europe, so the coldest weather for that through the north and the east of Europe. We're close to this ridge and on the periphery. We do get some cold snaps here and there, but especially so late February and into March 2004. Then we've got 2004-2005. Remember, this is a Madoki El Nino bow, so again, not especially relevant for the current situation ENSO-wise, but does follow the hyperactive hurricane season of 2004, with high pressure out to the west, and again, winds coming in from that direction. Has a month of cold weather at the end of the winter, from the middle of February, or from late February into the middle part of March. Few cold snaps on and off before that. 2005-2006 follows the strongest hurricane season, I think, for accumulated cyclone energy, at the peak of the warm phase of the AMO as well, I think, with low pressure down to south and high pressure blocking up to the north. It looks like it should be a very cold winter. It was not. It looks like it should be an epic winter for the analogue, does it? But it wasn't. It's winter that never really came together. Although, again, we did have a month of cold weather from the middle of February to middle of March 2006. Interesting that there's 3 years, 2004-5, 2005-6, no, 2003-4, 2004-5, 2005-6, 3 years that have late winter cold spells, February to March. Then we got 2010-2011, of course, including the December to remember, high pressure blocking towards Greenland, low pressure down here, winds coming in from the east. So our coldest December since 1890 in December 2010, but does have a very mild February as well. And then the last year that has, actually that's wrong, is it? So hang on, I've got the running all right. Okay, going to pause the video. Sorry about that, everybody. Got to get to one more analogue up for you. No idea where it is, why it isn't there, but I'm going to show you everything. So hold on 2 seconds. Okay, this is what I'm going to show you. We can't leave this out. This is 2017-18. Beach to the east winter, following the hyperactive hurricane season of 2017. Low pressure through here and bring the wind in from a cold north or northeast direction. It has a beach to the east in February 2017. Before that, the cold is on and off. And then finally, last hyperactive hurricane season was 2020. The winter of 2020-2021 is a teaser winter. All of this blocking to the north. Low pressure underneath it. We virtually have an extremely cold winter. That Scotland does have a cold winter. Further south, it's a little bit on off. Right, let's put all of that together. This is how all December's combined looking following hyperactive hurricane seasons. A cold signal for these Decembers, with blocking in the Atlantic, low pressure through West Europe, and winds coming in from a cold northerly or northeasterly direction. This is how all January's combined are looking. Northern blocking, high pressure in the North Atlantic going towards Scandinavia, low pressure underneath it, winds in from a cold easterly direction in the Januaries, and all February's combined rounds it all off with high pressure blocking in the North Atlantic. An epic set of analogues back into the Arctic with blocking, low pressure through Europe, winds coming in from the northeast, and this is how all winters combined are looking after hyperactive hurricane seasons. It's a cold winter signature overall, with high pressure in the North Atlantic going back into the Arctic, low pressure through the northwest Europe, winds tend to be coming in from the northeast direction. Remember, there will be years that are deviating. So, for example, 1999 and 2000 were both mild winters, but when we put it all together, when we combine the evidence, it is a cold winter signature that we have there. Just want to show you one last thing. I shouldn't really, because we don't don't include years before 1950 in our analogues and our methodology, but I'm sure you did notice, and I said, didn't I, 1878 was a hyperactive hurricane season, and then so neutral winter as well on the cold side, I think. Now that was a very, very cold winter that we had in 1878, 1879, so Mississippi Sea. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm going to get myself into all sorts of trouble, but look at this. December 1878 was a negative CT month, minus 0.3. January was even colder, minus 0.7. February did turn a bit milder, plus 3.1. The last time he had a yearly CT, by the way, was in 1879 at 7.44. Following the hyperactive hurricane season of 1878, this is how December don't normally do this. Haven't included analogues and reanalysis from the 1800s for years. But why not? Why not for this set? So, remember, this isn't relevant, though, for the winter forecast, okay? This is just for fun. But December did have a very strong blocking signal up towards Greenland. Low pressure was seeing winds coming in from the easterly direction. Very cold. That's how we came away in a sub-zero CT December. Look at January. Low pressure down here along with the jet stream as well. Check out all of that blocking that we had up there and winds in from the east. I'm going to get myself in so much trouble with this. What do you think, Rich? Am I in trouble? This is how February looks. I couldn't resist it. This is how February looks. The reason February goes milder is that the low pressure goes northwards and the blocking sort of retreats a little bit. So, some cold snaps so in February of 1879. And finally, this is how the winter of 1879 looked from a reanalysis perspective. Strong blocking around Greenland, low pressure is underneath it, winds in from an easterly direction. It follows a hyperactive hurricane season with ENSO neutral on the cool side. Okay, that brings to an end. I shouldn't have done that, really. That brings to an end the 12th winter update. We're still under an hour. This is the longest update that we've done, but I've still managed to bring it in under the hour. So if you enjoyed the 12th winter update, please do like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much, everyone, for doing that. Tell your friends and family about the unique content that we're producing at GavsWeatherVids. You can't see this in-depth level of content anywhere online. So, please tell everyone who will be interested about the work that we're doing here. And as I say, that brings to an end the 12th winter update. You'll find at the beginning of next week's 13th winter update how swingometer is looking after this. Thank you to Richard Short, and also Siberian for all of the help on this winter update. And as I say, next week's winter update is the 13th and final winter update. Same time, same place for the last time this season. Right, so we're going to be live at 6 p.m. I shall see you a little bit later on for that one, for the 12th winter 2024-25 update. That's all for now, and thanks for watching. See you later. Bye for now.